Hi, I'm Tony Nichols, and welcome to Chamber Chat. Hi, and welcome to Chamber Chat, a program put together by the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce for the sole purpose of keeping you informed on what's going on in your community and in your chamber. Joining us today is no stranger to the program, Dr. Memo, Diriker, Director at Beacon. Welcome back to the program.
My pleasure to be here.
All right, what are you here to talk about this time, man?
Well, that time of the year, we're going to talk about the economy and what's going to happen in our economy in the coming year. As you know, for the past 26 years, we have been hosting the economic forecast for the chamber.
Okay.
And this year we have a completely different program, so I'm here to talk about that.
Okay, well let's start out with the easy question. What is the economic forecast?
Well, every year the chamber invites a number of knowledgeable people from the business community, economists, bankers, to be able to look into the future of the economy and provide some historical context, what happened in the past year, what's going to happen in the coming year, and some prognostications about what's likely to happen so that our members can make their plans for the coming year. And this is what the economic forecast is all about.
And this is, we've been doing it 26 years. This is the 27th.
This is the 27th
You
annual.
see that math I did
Yeah,
there?
very good, Tony.
You've actually spoken at a couple of these economic
Yes.
forecasts and give some predictions about the statistics that you had put together.
Absolutely. Beacon continues to provide those statistics. In the past, we used to do it in the form of a presentation. Now we do it in the form of a handout. We do a quarterly survey, and the third quarter, fourth quarter survey is announced at the forecast with predictions for the first quarter of the coming year, as well as the entirety of the year. We're going to do that again, but it's going to be again in the form of a handout rather than a presentation.
Right. I understand there might be something different about this forecast than what we've had in the previous years.
Oh, Tony, you're the master of understatement. This forecast is, first of all, it's different from a simple chronological perspective. Historically, we've always done our forecasts in the third week of January. Our membership has told us that's not a little bit late to provide a forecast for the coming year, and they have been asking us to pull it earlier and earlier.
Gotcha.
Instead of pulling it earlier in the new year and interfere with people's travel plans, we decided to do, like most other forecasts around the country do it in December.
Sure.
So this year, for the first time, we are actually going to be talking about the next year rather than the
We're going to be
year
forecasting.
exactly. It will be time-wise different. But the real difference is what happened on November 6th, the elections.
Okay.
Post-elections, there have been so many changes to the reality that the new normal is completely an unknown for us at the national level, at the state level, and at the local level. So when you're looking at the business and economic conditions of our region, our county, our city, we have to be cognizant of these changes. So this forecast has a very, very different theme compared to the previous forecast. This one we actually titled, "The Elections Are Over, Now What?"
Now what? All right.
And indeed, that's a very important question.
There was a lot of movement, some expected, some surprises.
Correct.
And so I would say that's appropriately named because there's a lot of question marks, I think, in people's minds.
Absolutely. And as you know, Tony, the world of politics and public policy intersects very, very much with the world of business and economics.
Right.
It's all about resource allocation, how we deploy resources, how we make use of those resources. And some of those resources are public resources.
Sure.
So when we are trying to find that happy medium between public investment and private investment to be able to build the future of our region, we need to understand what the rules of the game are. We kind of knew those rules coming into the election. We knew there were going to be changes, but as you said, we didn't predict the magnitude of the changes. And now we really have a new normal, and we don't know the rules of the game. This chamber forecast this year is all about understanding the new rules of the game, understanding how we're going to deal with the new reality, and understanding how we should plan for that new reality so that we get the best of the change rather than be derailed by any part of the change.
What can you tell us in terms of some of the topics that we might hear discussed at the forecast?
While our theme is very, very appropriate and timely and unique to this particular forecast, our format is somewhat similar to what we've done in the past. We will be bringing the senior economist of the Federal Reserve Bank from Richmond, the Baltimore branch senior economist, to tell us about what's happening in our world internationally, nationally, regionally, and then at the state of Maryland level, and finally at the local level. So it's kind of a funnel approach coming from the very global to the very local, telling us what has been happening in the past year and what is likely to happen in the coming year. We are bringing another economist, thanks to one of our sponsors, M&T Bank, who will be talking to us about what the markets are likely to do in the coming year and what has happened in the past and what is likely to happen in the future, so that the finance and investment side of our decision making can be more appropriate based on this post-election new reality, particularly at the federal level, from that presenter's perspective. Following the two plenary speakers at the beginning, we will take a break and then we'll go on to a panel format, again like we've done in the past years. This year we have 5 major topics on the panel discussion. We're going to look at jobs. Of course, it's always very, very important to look at jobs. We're going to look at technology, all the changes that are happening in technology. We're going to look at healthcare in the post-election environment. Who knows what's going to happen to the Affordable Care Act? Who knows what's going to happen to our community hospitals? Who knows what's going to happen with medical information technology changes? All those are very, very important questions. The fourth area we're going to look at is manufacturing. Our manufacturing had been showing some decline in the past. In fact, it showed about a 2-decade-long decline. And just this past couple of years, we have been seeing a rejuvenation in manufacturing activity. The manufacturing sector has been coming together, collaborating better than ever. And we knew that this potential wind farm off the coast of Ocean City presented all kinds of opportunities for our manufacturing sector. Now the question is, will the changes that happened in Annapolis, will the changes that happened in Washington, will the changes that happen locally have an impact? Will it be delayed? Will it be in any way changed? Will the financing mechanism that's going to make that happen is a public investment. Will that public investment still be in place? These are very big questions, and they change the nature of the future in terms of planning for that manufacturing opportunity in our region. And when we put all these things together, look at technology, look at jobs, look at agriculture, of course, one of our most important sectors, manufacturing and healthcare, you get a good picture of what the new normal is going to mean to each one of these areas. And there's a lot of intersection, a lot of sort of crossing over boundaries between these jobs. For example, in the manufacturing side, one of their problems is having a skilled, trained and trainable workforce. Well, if we have a continuing skill gap, I don't care what the opportunities are, we're not going to be able to exploit those opportunities unless our workforce is ready, willing, and able. Training that workforce takes resources. Historically, those are public resources. Again, will there be any changes to the availability and the nature of those public resources, or are we going to have to come up with private resources to be able to do that very advanced skill acquisitions, such as advanced welding for the potential offshore wind farm? And not only are you welding, but you're welding at a height in the middle of the sea.
Water.
You know, it's a whole different ballgame. You need to train people about the different security requirements. All those things are unknowns, but we want to change those unknowns and uncertainties to more predictable outcomes through this forecast.
It sounds like we need to have a 2-day.
It does, doesn't it? It does, doesn't it?
Because to know what we thought we knew prior to the election.
Absolutely.
And then to have the elections results that we had, the what now aspect is certainly in play. Not so much from what to expect out of the people, but what kind of benefit will the shore see when historically we've had a strong seat at the table. Hopefully we can continue to have that seat at the table. I think that sounds like that's going to dictate the answer to what now for all those categories.
Oh, absolutely. And that's actually a very, very good segue to our keynote speaker, Newt Fowler, who's going to tell us what we need to do in this new normal. Newt is a renowned blogger who writes about economics and economic development throughout Maryland, and he has a very different perspective. He doesn't believe in weaknesses. He doesn't
Right.
believe in threats. He believes in strengths and opportunities. And he's going to challenge us to think
Sure.
in a different way, to not only be ready, but ready to really thrive in this new normal.
Right.
And he's going to be the closing speaker of our forecast. And what I love about this year's change is we have married our economic forecast with our annual Maryland Legislative Delegation Luncheon.
Okay.
So the forecast is going to close, and then 15 minutes later, we're going to start the Maryland Legislative Delegation Luncheon, where the entire legislative delegation has already confirmed their attendance.
Oh, wow.
They are going to be there ready, willing, and able to answer questions on the public policy side. To the audience that has now been primed about the economic changes, they are going to be able to ask these mostly newly elected legislators what their vision is for the public policy side of this discussion.
Can you imagine the attendance? Get your tickets now.
Absolutely.
It sounds like that's going to be standing room only.
This, in my 26 years of attending these things, I only missed the first one. It's going to be probably the most impactful
Right.
economic forecast because of the conjecture we're in right now. It is going to be not only impactful, but it's going to be very useful, it's going to be very actionable, and it's going to give us the opportunity to actually hear it from the proverbial horse's mouth during the luncheon. After having heard the economic piece, we're going to be able to say, hey, newly elected delegate, hey, newly elected senator, how are you going to help us make this a reality?
Sure. Tell us when and where.
It's going to be in the Purdue School. In fact, right now we are at the Purdue School. It's going to be in the Bennett Auditorium of the Purdue School, the economic forecast, which is just off our atrium, Purdue School, Salisbury University campus. It is going to start 7:30 in the morning, and it's going to go till about 12:30. And then we're going to take a short walk, or we will have shuttles available, depending on weather, to take people over to the Correa University Center. The Wycomico room of the Correa University Center is going to be the location for the Maryland Legislative Delegation luncheon. So both events are going to be on campus December 18th, starting at 7:30, and it will go on till about 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon, together with the economic forecast and the luncheon.
Very good. Dr. Diriker, thank you for inviting us to the Purdue School and Beacon. I've been a strong supporter of the Chamber, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
My pleasure always.
Now we're going to give you an opportunity to take a look at the upcoming events with the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back to Chamber Chat on PAC 14. Joining us now is Veronica Correa with the Personal Wellness Center. Thanks for joining us, Veronica.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Before we get into what you really came to us to talk about, tell us what the Personal Wellness Center does.
The Personal Wellness Centers provides counseling services, life coaching, and we have a variety of innovative approaches to help people create wellness and achieve the life that they want, achieve success.
Okay.
And one of the main things that we do is helping people lower their stress level.
Well, this day and time, there's enough stress to go around.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. So you're here to talk about life coaching for success.
Yes.
Tell us what that is.
Life coaching is a journey that begins with looking inside you and finding your strengths, your abilities, your past successes, and start envisioning the life that you would like to create. And it focuses on possibilities versus limitations. And as we're coming down to the end of the year, it's a perfect time to say how this year went for me and what I would like for next year. And start creating that and start manifesting a better year.
So many times when you get to the end of a year, whatever year, many people tend to look back and see the things that didn't happen that they wanted to happen, rather than look forward. And to me, one of the keys in life is hope.
Absolutely.
Always having hope. A hope that you could strive to to be better, to be what you want to be, to have that vision cast in front of you that you're always working towards. So this, while it should be a very festive and happy time of the year, many times it's very stressful for people. So
Right.
that's I think it's timely that we're sitting here having this conversation. If I want to have to create this perfect life, this life that I want to have, where do I begin?
Well, you have to begin by creating a vision. What is it that I want to do with my life? Everybody has inside a sense of purpose and a sense of what I want to achieve while I'm here. And everybody has greatness inside them. It's not just in a few of us, it's in all of us. And we are here in this life journey to manifest it. So creating that vision and then starting to look at 3 areas of your life that you would like something better and where you like improvements that will make you happier. And then start formulating goals with that. That will be the beginning.
Do you have a formula for creating these goals? Is there a best practice that you found that you walk people through to create these goals?
Yes, and that can be defined in one word, and it's SMART. The goals need to be SMART.
Okay.
Meaning that they have to be specific, they have to be measurable, they have to be achievable, they have to be relevant to you and time sensitive. An example of that, for example, would be I want to lose 10 pounds. That would be more a wishful thinking and not a SMART goal.
Right.
But if we turn that wishful thinking into a SMART goal, would be I lose 10 pounds by March 31st, 2015. So it makes it very specific. That is a weight loss, and how much is measurable. You can measure 10 pounds, and is attainable because that means there's only 3 pounds, a little bit over 3 pounds per month, and then it's relevant to me. It can it is important to my health,
right.
And then it's time sensitive. A specific day when it will happen. People tend to write more wishful thinking thoughts or ideas than a specific goal.
I think we're on to another very relevant topic, because how many people are going to be setting their New Year's resolutions?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So how can you make sure, because 9 out of 10 doctors say don't set resolutions. they don't say that. But how can you make sure you attain your goals? Because so many times we set them and we get sidetracked, or we don't see the progress that we want to see. What can we do to make sure we hit those goals?
That's a great question. And that can be summarized with one word again, is habits. I follow this author, Darren Hardy, from Success Magazine, and he says if you want more out of life, you need to become more. And you do that through habits. And we live our daily lives one habit after another. Those are learned behaviors at an unconscious level that we just do every day, like driving, brushing your teeth. And you have to ask yourself, what habits do I want to embrace that are going to move me closer to my goal? Right. And what are going to be the habits that are going to move me away, and get rid of those habits and embrace the habits that are going to get you closer. Sure. To give you an example, when I decided, and I had a goal of eating healthier, was I had to let go of habits like buying things that had carbohydrates and sugars, and started moving that away from my diet little by little. This doesn't happen overnight. It's not, and people tend to think they make the resolutions for the new year and they want everything done by January 31st. And it really doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that way. You have to look at goals a yearly or a 3-year period. And so I started to make the changes, and nothing was huge at the beginning, but eventually it got better and better. I got into the habit, for example, of juicing. And I never knew what that was, but I have found it to be delicious, nutritious, and it has made a huge difference in my life. Now, if you look at my pantry and my refrigerator, you're going to see that there's a lot of empty space, because I only use things that are good
fresh.
For me, fresh, yes.
So, right. First of all, now you're starting to pry. You're starting to get into people's lives. Yes. When you start talking about carbohydrates, I have to take wheat out of my diet. I have to start juicing, and I do many of these things. So that's it.
That's wonderful.
That is definitely a lifestyle change.
Yes.
But when you do it, you feel a lot better.
Absolutely.
And food tastes better. And again, I know I'm. It's like I'm working for you now. But all those things, all the things that you're suggesting, are manifest in, not only habits, but what you're putting in your body.
Absolutely, and writing down your goals is another habit. I mean, I ask people, do you have goals? And they say, yes, of course I have goals. And I say, where are they? Because I want to see them and go over them with them. And they say, well, I have them right here. And I said, well, your mind is a wonderful tool for logistics, for creativity, for ideas. It's not a good fighting system. You need to get into the habit of writing them down and then plan your day. That needs to be another habit. Plan my day, my week, my month, my year around those goals.
That leads me to another good question. Balancing life around your goals, because I look at the mind as an airport, and the goals are these planes and ideas or planes flying around, but many times those good ideas, they don't land. The ones that you allow to land are the ones that focus on the person that you were, not the person that you want to be. So how do you balance that in the busy lifestyles that we have and attaining the goals that we set for ourselves?
You have to be flexible. You have to be very flexible once you set the goals. And I'm very pragmatic in my approach and practical, so I write them down. I specifically say what I want to do, how I'm going to get there, habits that I'm going to embrace, habits I'm going to let go. And once my plan is written and is ready to go, I surrender. I surrender that plan to something higher than me.
Sure.
I believe in God, and I believe that God is also guiding me. And life is telling me, Veronica, this is the path, not just what you think, but also this. So I meditate, I hear my own inner voice, and also the guidance that life gives me, that God gives me, into how get either what I want or something better. And the truth is that because I have been doing this year after year, the return on investment that I get for this process, it gets bigger and bigger every year. So listening to that inner guidance along with what you set out to do. Life cannot help you and God cannot help you if you don't know what you want, if you have not defined what you want and who you want to become.
Veronica, you've brought us a lot of wisdom, a lot of things to think about today. Thank you for joining us on Chamber Chat.
Thank you very much for having me. My pleasure.
We'd like to give you another opportunity to take a look at the upcoming events with the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back to Chamber Chat on PAC 14. Joining us now is Cathie Thomas, Director of Member Services with the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back, Cathie.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I guess the first thing we need to do is congratulate the Chamber. We have hit a milestone that it's been, I'm thinking, around 10 years or so.
You're right.
Since we've hit this 800 number mark.
Yes,
so congratulations. A lot of hard work there.
There was, but it's all on the chamber. It's not just one individual that makes that kind of growth. It's the members that make that kind of growth.
Well, I'll put you in the hot seat. What do you attribute the growth or the sustainability of the growth? Because a lot of times people join and you have a churn and it's just a very frustrating cycle. What do you attribute the growth to that we are sustaining now?
Well, you've pinned it right down. A lot of chambers do have that cycle. They'll bring in a lot of members during a member drive and then lose them. Our chamber really has done a lot in the last couple of years to become more and more relevant with today's needs, whether it's dealing with social media, whether it's dealing with advocacy. They work very hard to meet the needs of members. And when you're doing things right, people want to be a part of that kind of an association. They see the benefit for their business in being part of a large group that moves in the direction they're trying to go.
Wow, I like that answer. Depends
Well,
on,
it's
I've been
fact.
part of that a little bit. There's been a lot of people that have done a lot of hard work, put in a lot of long hours.
For a lot of years.
That's
It
right.
didn't happen overnight. This has been conversation point for probably 3-4 years heading in this
Easy,
direction. Yep.
easy.
Yep.
Well, I understand that there's a new way to join the chamber now. So I think we're getting some traction there. It's
Yes.
pretty exciting. Tell us about it.
It is exciting, and actually it's a new old way. Years ago we had an online application, and through the course of time with changing our website and making things more accessible, we actually made our application less accessible. So within the last probably month and a half, we now have an online application, and it is fantastic. It's working with our database company, and it serves everybody because we have members in 4 different states.
Wow.
So if somebody's thinking about joining or is researching our area and says, well, I need to be a part of that organization, how do I join? They don't have to come in and see us. They don't have to make a phone call if they don't want to. They have an online application right there. They can actually either invoice themselves or they can go ahead and join with a credit card right online.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing about the way it works is I then get notification whether they've already joined or whether they've invoiced themselves. And they're also told on that response email that they will get a response within 24 hours. And they do.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
excellent. It's been a great tool. I'm real excited about
Very
it.
good. And it's almost like the last time we were doing online applications. It's almost like many other things, and it wasn't time yet.
Yeah.
Now with everything being digital, everything going to the web, people are much more comfortable with that process than they might have been
Exactly.
previously.
Well, it's a lot more interactive. We've been able to tailor it for our chamber. In other words, we're able to ask if they want to offer a member-to-member discount or a benefit. We've been able to ask what they're interested in being involved in.
Right.
So we know going in part of what their interests are, which again adds to that relevance. It's, okay, what is the company looking for, and how can we best provide that to them?
Well, staying in that technological theme, what are some other things that are housed on the website that we have access to?
Ooh, I'm glad you asked. Around the same time, we shifted up our member directory.
Okay.
And this is a really exciting piece for me. I'm trying very hard to get all of our members involved in it. You can go on our website and pull up our entire member directory. But if I've met Tony Nichols and I don't know that he works for BBSI, how do I find him?
Right.
They actually have a representatives page, and you get a basic listing with your membership. I can find you through BBSI, or I can find you through Tony Nichols. So if I've met you, but I can't remember all about you, I can find it there.
Wow.
It can be upgraded. Anybody that goes to our website can find some very, very attractive listings. And that's been really fun for me because I can take somebody's business card or their website, and with a little bit of work, I can make their directory listing match either their business card or their website.
Okay, so I was going to ask, what does an upgraded listing mean? So,
Yeah.
color, logos, those kinds of
Yep,
things.
business description.
Gotcha.
It adds a map link, not just the address, a map link. And through Sophia Smecker's work, our website is also now mobile friendly. So when they find all of that on their phone, they can hit it and call directly to you.
Oh, wow.
It's getting interactive. You can make your listing pop. So if you go under employment agencies or under insurance or under physicians, you kind of want to stand out from everybody on that long list.
Sure. Do you have to log in to see this? Is there a username and password?
Not for that.
Okay.
There is a login and password for the member, like yourself, to upgrade their own information once we've talked about this and completed it. Everybody, every representative and every primary representative should have their login and password. It just gives them the ability to RSVP, to find things on the web that are for members only.
Right.
So if members who are watching this don't have their password and login, all they have to do is call me and I can get it right to them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I know when we moved to the website, the goal was to make it readily accessible as it relates to events, happenings at the chamber, happenings in the community. Is that something we're seeing used more frequently, or do we need to invite people to take a look at that again?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
It is being used more, and our calendar actually changed at about the same time our directory did. So we can log on and look at all the calendar. The calendar is available to anybody who visits our website. There's also a community calendar, which you'll find in the drop-down box. And folks that are not chamber members that have community events, whether it's a church event, a nonprofit event, a walk, a run, whatever it is, especially with the holidays coming up, craft fairs,
Right.
they can go onto our website and actually input the information to show up on our community calendar.
Wow.
It does then go through one of our staff members who has to approve it. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. But then it just goes straight up onto the web.
Really cool. All right, anything else you want to share with us as it relates to membership?
Well, as you said, our membership is growing. I'm really excited about it. I've been able to, in the last year, meet a lot of new people in our area. I still stand strong that we are a large chamber. That gives us a large voice. But we have 62% of our membership is still 9 employees or less.
Right.
So we still have a very strong base of our local folks.
That's what the business community across the country is made up of,
is.
the small business.
It is. And we welcome the large and the small because there's also a great integration when you can bring in a large company and the smaller companies then they're on a level platform and they have the ability to meet with and talk with these folks because they're all chamber members.
Gotcha.
That's cool.
Thanks for joining us, Cathie. You're welcome anytime you want to come back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. It's always fun to talk about membership.
Yes, it is. We'd like to thank you as well for joining us on this edition of Chamber Chat. If you've missed any portion of this program or you'd like to view previous editions of Chamber Chat, we'd encourage you to log on to PAC14's website and use their on-demand function, or you can log on to the Chamber's website, salisburyarea.com. That's about all the time we have for this edition of Chamber Chat. I'm Tony Nichols, your host, encouraging you to make a difference.